Okay. Alright, so, okay. Klar, dass was passieren wird. So ist es. Dass das jetzt nicht ganz. Aha. Aha, ja. Und Sie sehen dann auch, ob da in dem Chat eine Frage oder so nachher kommt, oder soll ich da vielleicht parallel mich einloggen? Das kann ich auch machen.
Wäre vielleicht fast gescheiter.
Kann ich? Ja.
Aber es ist halt 30 Sekunden Verzögerung.
Claro. Na, aber ich meine, falls die im Chat dann eine Frage jemand hat am Schluss. Oder kannst du parallel, wenn du dann noch da bist, oder? Ja, gell? Ja, weißt du, vielleicht kommt dann eine Frage rein, wenn, dann macht es der Georg, wunderbar. Ja. Perfekt, danke.
Genau. Wenn ihr vorhin eine Frage stellt, oder?
Ja, cool. Passt. Maske abnehmen und man nicht. Ist nicht mehr gewohnt. Okay. Right, so Tamás, we are already online, so this means we start then, yeah, we start
Sure.
in 1-2 minutes. Is that good for you to
Yeah,
start
sure.
about now slowly?
Sure.
I start with the introduction of you.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, very briefly. Oh yes, so that I can read it also. Yeah. It's not so easy to hold it on the knees and to read it, I notice. So I'm curious how you will do that.
It's really comfortable. Like
Is
this.
it comfortable?
I mean, it's pretty warm, but it's good.
So it's warming up.
No, but it's good. No,
good.
it won't warm.
So you feel agreeable.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
a warm
It's good.
nest.
It's like comfortable. Exactly.
Like in a warm nest. Okay. So, dann würde ich mal sagen, legen wir langsam los. Danke vielmals. Okay. Hallo, schönen guten Abend. Ich begrüße Sie herzlich zu einer weiteren Ludic Soiree im Kontext des neuen Studiengangs Experimental Game Cultures. Ich freue mich sehr, dass wir einen Gast haben, der selbst aktiv Spielender ist, aber im Spiel gestaltender Künstler. Selbst ist kommt aus Budapest, Tamás Páll. Multidisciplinary contextual work. I switch to English now. Tamás Páll is also a PhD student in the artistic research program, and I'm his doctoral mother. But I can say that because Tamás is very much into role play, so this is his expertise. He likes to switch roles in his art, in his study, and in his game design. Tamás Páll is an internationally renowned artist. He was showing in New York at the ISCP, in Prague at the Meat Factory, also in Berlin several times. At different galleries, at the Collegium Hungaricum Berlin, also in Budapest, AQB project space among others, and also very interesting sites like the Ludwig Museum, the Trafo House of Contemporary Art, and Planke Gallery in Berlin, among others. So you see, he is in the arts world, very well established. He himself will show his latest pieces that are a combination of technologies and play, art and experiment, artistic research in ludic games for non-human actors. That's your topic today, non-human narration. I'm very curious what it will be. So the stage is yours. Thank you for being here with us this evening. And to the audience, questions are possible via the chat. We will follow this on the stream, so feel free to post questions in the chat.
Thank you, Margarete. Hello, everyone watching. So just a quick side note before I start this little presentation. Yesterday there were the governmental elections in Hungary, and the results are really devastating, so I'm sorry if I'm a bit chaotic and not that composed. Yeah.
But politics and actual politics is part of the gameplay of everyday life and of a very relevant question in your work as well. And so maybe it's a bit too early, but you are actively engaging also in political work, as I know, also in alternative positions. Probably you will turn to this in the end of your presentation and in the discussion.
Sure. Yeah, so let me start. So I'm going to present 3 of my works today, which can relate it to non-human storytelling and world building. My name is Tamás Páll, as Margarete said already. I work with digital media, game engines, installation, and performance, where I try to blend experimental game design, also film, text, and installation, and also with a very much emphasis on role-play and performance, and also mythologies or mythopoiesis. And the 3 works that I want to talk about today are OVO, Summit, and The Archive, these are the titles for those. And the first one is an individual work of mine. The other 2 are collaborative projects which I've done together with the artist group Hello. And through 3 of these works, I've tried to unpack my methods of non-human storytelling and world building, or my approach to these topics. And I will try to focus on my methods rather than the actual content, to keep the presentation short. So the first project is called OVO. This is a project that I've started to develop in 2021 in the autumn, or like in August. And this started off as a multimedia installation and also a research project that explores the relationships between biology, artificial intelligence, and storytelling. And in the center of this work, in the world of OVO, there is a narrative around a synthetic creature, which is called in the story as Hydra vulgaris, which is the same name that it references, which is from biology. This is an actual biological model organism, and this creature in the story comes to life in an experimental film, and also as a distributed set of text prints, which are printed on foil. The first module of the work, or like the first part of the work, is a 16-minute experimental film where this creature, the Hydra vulgaris, tells a story about herself and her entanglement with different mythologies where hydras appear. And I'm gonna show some videos throughout the presentation. I'm gonna let them play out a bit and just talk about the videos after them. So Hydra's story here reveals that this creature was modeled on a family of hydras that are considered a model organism in biology, as I already stated. And these creatures are interesting because they are non-senescent, which means they are biologically immortal. That drives me to my next slide, which is about hydras in mythologies. And throughout the film, this creature, the hydra, this narrative creature, connects the mechanics of neural networks with the materiality of asexual biological reproduction, like regeneration, and also to the mythological hydras through mythopoetic methods, and also to the mechanisms of word formation or word building, and also relates to the reality shaping effect of the human languages through these associations in between the scenes of the film. The second element of this work is an installation, a physical installation with prints, with translucent prints. This was part of the work which was exhibited in Csongrád, Hungary, which is a city in Hungary, and also this was exhibited in like a swamp, a forest swamp, so it's like an off-site situation, not in a gallery. And this part of the work, these distributed texts that you can see here, it consists of texts and imprints of this creature, the Hydra, Hydra's body, which is scattered throughout the forest. So it's not on one place, but in many different places within the forest. And they appear in the forms of digital body parts, like 3D modeled and also procedurally generated virtual bodies, which are printed on foil. And also the texts resemble different narrative structures that revolves around this creature. And also they are kind of conveying this creature's own story. So this non-human creature's own introduction, its own exploration, and its own kind of research journal. And these installations were mounted on multiple harnesses, which were drawn between branches in the wood. And next, I want to show a little snippet from this story, just to give you a glimpse what this creature, this Hydra, talks about throughout the film. And it goes like this. Hope you see the subtitles, because the voiceover is Hungarian. So throughout the scene, Hydra kind of goes through the forest, this swamp, which is also the actual swamp, Csongrád, and also this virtual space of the Hydra that it's born from and lives in. And she describes their own stories regarding world building, how it creates its own stories, its own narrative structure based on its own reproductive mechanisms. And this goes on for like 6 or 7 minutes in this scene. And what you can see here rotating around is a virtual map, an augmented reality map that can be used to pinpoint the locations of where this Hydra, or where the installation and parts of this work appeared within the forest, and also in Berlin, and also online on the transit log. So it's kind of this transreal map of this whole work. There are some coordinates as well, some cryptic URL like hashes within this virtual sculpture, which will be visible a bit better in augmented reality in a sec. So this is basically the exploration of this whole installation, at least one part of it, through this virtual map.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's what you see when you play it in the real forest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like a recording through this virtual, augmented reality layer through my phone.
Mm-hmm. So it's a game in the forest.
Yeah, kind of. This kind of like a
play in the forest.
Exactly, yeah. Like exploring this whole structure.
Mm-hmm.
mikor egy tudományos kísérletben felvágták itt a vulkáris testét, és feltelepelt testrészek újra növesztették a magukat. A kis hidra vulkáris többé nem egy szinguláris organizmusnak látod, hanem egy hálózatos
So here I try to play how text appears within this really organic and chaotic environment, and try to kind of make it less of a language-based thing as like a sculptural appearance within this environment. And about the text, I want to talk about a bit how it's structured. So there are like 5 different narrative parts to this work, and each kind of represents a different kind of narrative framing of the whole work, and also of this creature, the Hydra, and also the biological mechanisms that I've talked about. And this is kind of like an approach to create a distributed or like kind of decentralized protagonist, which is not like a hero of the film, but more like this creature that spreads around the whole narrative, creating this really meta-like narratives and the stories, but also really differing point of views about this creature and also this whole work itself. And through this voiceover layer, I've tried to create this anthropomorphic role-playing of this Hydra, to give voice to this virtual creature. But it's also important to state that the narrative of this whole work was created together or with an AI system, which is called Deep AI, which is a free service kind of thing that you can search for, deepai.org. I don't want to like advertise them because these AI systems, which are really on a large scale, they are really problematic. But I try to experiment with this co-creation with a non-human entity, which is an AI, which is basically an infrastructure. So there is this curatorial process where you generate text based on your text, and there is this back and forth between you and the machine, which I found really fascinating often, that you can kind of co-write this procedural narrative with a machine. So the problems with these AI models, or especially with the GPT-2 and 3 model, or like OpenAI, that they have really large quantities of carbon emissions and a really big carbon footprint. So, for example, here you can see in comparison that the last one is the AI model. The neural net, which is running behind OpenAI and also Deep AI, how much carbon footprint it generates through these really big chunks of data that it inferences when you use it throughout the years. Yeah, this is just a side note to this. Mm-hmm. And this kind of concludes this work. And next, I want to switch to my collaborative works. So this was an individual one. The next ones will be collaborative works. Yeah.
So shall we talk in between already, or you prefer to do the whole?
We can.
No, I don't talk much, but I just think that the last slide that you showed, I think that's very interesting also, that you are aware of this factor also, that it has this one transaction has such a big carbon footprint of the AI, and what does it mean if we play with the AI? So the reflection must be part of the work also, to create especially such environmental conscious work as you do. So if you make a play in the woods with an AI which destroys so much wood in a way, what does this mean? And if you do it, then you have to point to it. And I think it's great that Tamás points always in his work to it also, or in your work.
Exactly, and there is like a really big gap, I think, between like skills. So I'm not a computer scientist, so I could do something with custom AI, but if I want to like create my own version of it, I would have to like really spend like tens of years to at least learn the infrastructures. And these are services basically which everyone can use,
Yeah.
and they are enterprises as well, and they make money off of
Yeah.
like using them.
Yeah, but so this play is raising also such questions, and this is relevant because everybody of us is exactly using this version of an AI. If we are using the GPT-2 or GPT-3, these generative pre-trained networks. And well, but Tamás also is a very good programmer himself, so he really knows what he is speaking about and also can do parts of it himself. But using also a sort of consumer version is a statement in itself. So thank you for that.
Thanks. Yeah, exactly.
So you go on. I
Yeah,
think
I'm gonna
that's
switch
just
to-
wanted to make a point here. Thank you for this.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm gonna switch to my collaborative works, which I'm doing together with the artist group called
If there
Hello.
are other questions,
Oh yeah, sure.
No. So just if there are questions on site, that's also possible online as well. Good. Okay, just go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so I will present some of these collaborative works, which I'm doing together with Hello, which I want to introduce a bit. So Hello is an artist group based in Budapest, and the members are Viktor Szedi, who is a choreographer, Gyula Muskovic, who is a writer, curator, and researcher, and the sound designs and the music is created by András Molnár and Tamás Margarete, and also I'm part of it. And we have been working together collectively since 2018. We combine contemporary dance with poetics, new media, augmented reality, and live role playing to build these ludic worlds or world prototypes throughout our performances and works. And most of our performances and installations are ongoing, so they are durational, so they kind of last a pretty long time. And together we explore topics such as queer cruising, hyperspace, millennial cults, the radicalization of gamer subculture, eco-anxiety, nature as a black box, and walking as a psychoactive substance. So this is like a short intro.
Working or walking?
Walking. Walking is a psychoactive substance.
Working.
Walking, like
walking in
like
the
walking.
wood.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Which
Could be
refers to
working too. Okay.
which refers to a work called Soiree, which we have done
Okay.
together with Dom's social club.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And the first work which I want to present together with this group is called Summit, that we started to develop and perform in 2019. And this is an immersive and speculative live-action role-play performance that was created in the summer of 2019. So this was before COVID happened in Europe. And we started to develop this in a residency at Meat Factory in Prague. And this is a slide from Donau Festival last year, where we last performed this piece. And this was performed multiple times in many sites, in gallery spaces, in theater spaces, but also in public spaces as well, in Prague and in Hungary as well. This is a scene that we performed in Nyugati railway station in Budapest. And Summit revolves around dystopic visions, like speculative future dystopic visions. And the word and the narrative of this piece speculates about these scenarios that are set in the near future, which foreshadow the obscure conditions of planetary event that radically changes life on Earth.
Yeah, you were very prophetic.
Unfortunately, yeah. So our idea was to bring in different situations to everyday life and to perform it like within these performances, and how like social dynamics change with these different environmental, social dynamics.
Also, may I ask in between a bit?
Yeah, sure.
Did you have a allowance or a permission to do that, or was it just
No,
a
it was,
action you just went
yeah,
there?
yeah, it was kind of a
Budapest.
guerrilla thing. Yeah. So we just went down to this railway station, and we just performed this piece. And so this piece basically invites the audience for a trip to the land of eco horror, and also presents some eco gothic visions. So it revolves pretty much around ecological devastation as well, but also relates to cultism or millennial cults. So that's why you see this aesthetics that we kind of invented, our version of this earth cult that creates a story about itself. So this is basically earth like talking through human body, or like human voice. And through, I mean, here on this site, we handed out like poems printed on paper to everyone who received, I mean, who accepted this gesture. And I'm switching to a documentation from X10 Theater from Prague.
So what did people, how did they react on the railway station thing?
I mean, it was like, I'm gonna switch back,
Yeah,
because
thank you.
Yeah. So as you can see, there are like different scenarios unfolding here. For example, this more fascist side of Hungarian pop-up. Whatever is this display of thing that they want to get back whatever was lost during
Is it
Tech
art or
Triangle.
is it a demonstration?
Yeah. So
this
it
would be the
it
question
kind of,
from the public.
It bleeded together really interestingly, but also a bit frighteningly, because this aesthetic of so Summit has like a really strong aesthetic. Some said it's pretty too much close to this extremist aesthetics, which is true, but if you kind of look through the black and the white, then you see that this logo, this bird wasp man thing, this is kind of this triangle of this merge in between human and non-human. So this is basically what Summit also revolves around.
But we can go on. I just have short questions in between.
yeah,
Afterwards,
sure.
we discuss a bit of.
Sure.
Yeah. But you said you talk about your methods, and this is a method I also would say introduced by NSK, Neue Slowenische Kunst, Leibach. They have this. Maybe Rammstein today. I'm not really sure if you can connect or want to connect.
It definitely has
But
some metal.
it is a method
Yeah.
of the provocation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and if you look closer, you see possibilities and options. Okay, thank you. I think we can proceed.
So I'm switching to another documentation, which is more like theater-based version of Summit, and I'm gonna read a bit about what happens within this situation. So the viewers or the participants who come to this piece start off as kind of these non-player characters within this live role play event, and they arrive in a space that is filled with a group in uniform, and they immediately start to interact with the viewers. So the group S start to interact with the viewers, and we hand out obscure badges, surgical masks, offering weird capsules, and also communicate with each other via whispering. So this obscure kind of human-human communication. And these are kind of like simple commands that how much time is left from the performance. And the viewers either accept these interactions or like these gestures, or deny them without knowing the consequences within the play, because there are some dynamics that are unfolding throughout this piece. And the interaction between the group and the viewers are constantly shifts tone, because sometimes it resembles acts of care, like caressing or like giving something nice to the audience. But other times it's more like strict commandeering. So go there, like basically social distancing via commandeering. This is from 2019 as well. And so there is a layer on top of this whole performance, which is presented by an augmented reality projection on this big screen that you can see there. And in the space, there is this large screen that shows a virtual world that is embedded in the physical space via AR. And in this world, they encounter, the viewers, but also the players encounter these virtual characters that are role-playing different rituals. These avatars are role-playing different rituals. And these mechanics of this cross reality is twofold, because on the one hand it is a set of references which are referring to visions or like a database of dystopias, and a carrier, and it is also like a carrier of textual artifacts or like text-based pieces which can be heard via the performance, via the one of the performers who is reading, voiceovering the whole performance.
Should we hear it now?
It would be good, but no, the video has no sound.
It
so-
has no sound.
Yeah.
So I wanted to turn on.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
basically
you
that's
have to tell.
yeah. So this text, which is like a really poetic text written by the group, revolves around different scenarios that's happening to both Earth and both these future scenarios that are unfolding within the space that we are referring to, and these dystopic visions as well. So basically, this is like a monologue of an Earth that is dying, so to say.
Mhm. And this was before the pandemic?
This was before the
just
pandemic.
before the pandemic.
Yeah. But before the pandemic, it wasn't like before the pandemic. It was also really present that something is coming, because we are also dealing with this presence of something is coming, because it's always there. Due to social media, due to like governments, for example, the Hungarian government, there is this something in the back of your head that constantly bugs your mind and creates this really weird sensation of nothing is ending, but everything is ending at the same time. So there's this double bind of presence of futurities that either not happen anytime or happens constantly. There is this really weird disposing of futurities that kind of unfold in our life, at least. So this is also like a so Halo always works like really from like personal feelings and experiences, and then we generalized those experiences into these fictional words.
I think there's a question from the chat. I'd love to hear more about what you think about the appropriation of radical aesthetics as a form of rebellion and critique.
Mhm.
That's by Jelena Biskovic.
Hi, Anna. So appropriation of extremist aesthetics. Yeah, so I can talk about what is behind this piece, which is called Summit, that we research a lot of millennial cults and also their aesthetics, but their dynamics as well. And they're always something that is tied to like aesthetic means. For example, there was a cult in the 90s. Um, I don't remember the name now, but they were basically like a suicidal cult, and they like committed mass suicide. Heaven's Gate, yeah, exactly. And they were wearing Nike shoes, which were like really weird. That this whole thing revolving around death and like communal death or like suicidal cults is somehow related to Nike, which is like this super weird uh, collapse of context between aesthetics and this really like flash based experience, but also like life ending experience. Um, but as a form of rebellion, I wouldn't say that we use this particular aesthetics here as a form of rebellion, rather than creating like a uniform aesthetics to ourselves. Because this piece is called Summit, we started off developing this as kind of like a workshop scenario, which is totally different now. But we started off from this idea that this uniformization of a collective body, how could it look like as like an aesthetic bind or bond between the group, rather than these extremist aesthetics. It kind of accidental, but also became referential through this usage and discussions with like post-performance discussions, and also how the piece developed over time. I hope this is some
Good
sort of an answer.
Thank you.
I'm pretty slow. I wanted to keep this.
Because we integrate the
Oh
discussion.
yeah. So it's fine.
Also, yeah,
Okay,
I think
good.
because we integrate the talk,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
it
sure.
was announced also, so I think that's fine. If there are questions in between, you can wave, you can chat,
Good.
write in the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah.
So,
So basically
it's
the
okay
Q&A
that you
is
take
in between. That's good.
is
That's good.
already
Yeah, yeah.
integrated.
Cool.
It's my fault because I started to do that, but I think
No,
it's
that's
a
good.
nice
I
format.
think that's good.
I hope
It's
you
really
can handle
emergent.
it.
That's good.
Yeah, good.
I'm gonna continue with like describing what happens through this durational performance, and so in the piece we use like multiple apparatuses to stage this seemingly dystopian reality, where drops of this unease that I've talked about, this constant revolving futurities in our minds, turns into a stream of hazy and dark fantasies. And this world is composed of these futurities, and the visual references to these dystopic worlds are kind of these crumbling infrastructures, zombie apocalypse, or like characters from a zombie game, or also climate catastrophes. And the sonic environment, which you can't hear now, unfortunately, encapsulates the tones and the sounds from these lost futurities, or like futures that we lost after the revolutions of '89. And this is kind of like this database of this encyclopedia of dystopia, where we collect and reference and also process these crumbs of futurities. And throughout the whole piece, there is this two-way of time that flows. The first one is the time of the performance, the physical time that goes from start to finish, and things happen throughout the time. Victor enacts that he's dying throughout the performance. But if you look at the projections, the virtual world, then you can see that the time is flowing on the other way around. and the choreographies of these virtual characters, these avatars, become binded with Victor's movement. So they are kind of referencing each other through the virtual and the physical choreographies. Yeah, and yeah, so this piece was first developed, or we started to develop this in 2019, and after 1 year, COVID happened, as we all know, and so we started off this whole piece as a dystopian vision of the future, or the speculative vision of a dystopia. But as COVID happened, we tried to shift this dystopian version of Summit to like a more collective experience that can create these temporary collectives through this platform of the performance. And we wanted to catalyze these temporary communities as an egregore, which I will describe shortly later, where the participants are part of a temporary group who discuss and also experience together these speculative narratives about futurities through also chat messaging, so like through social media, but also group activities during the performance. So it became a bit more interactive, that tries to engage the communities of the performance, or these temporary communities of the performance. And as what is egregore? Egregore is an occult, non-physical entity that arises from a collective group of people, and I'm going to talk about a bit how it relates to the whole piece. And to convey this, or try to generate this egregore between the participants, we use chat as this collective role-play platform. And we invented like 3 main characters, Azazello, Jinx, and Admin, which are the main characters also presented on the logo of Summit. So these 3 weird creatures within the circle. And we started to build these characters and what they could be like. And I'm not gonna talk too much about them, but rather how we communicated through these characters with the audience. And the physical method for this was that we created these character cards, which were used during the performances, both as a locational, or like a locative map within the performative space, where they have to stand, where they have to move as a group. But also we started to use chat like Messenger, because this first was created for a Hungarian audience, and in Hungary the main instant messaging platform is Messenger. So we started to use this as kind of platform through which we enacted as a group these 3 characters. And this chat messaging were happening in many different medias, as you would use like a chat messaging app. But we try to convey this word building process through chatting with the audience, and we try to invite them to participate in this, and it generated a really nice flow in between the participants and the characters as well. And there was a really nice article which was published just now, like a month ago, in Balkan magazine in Hungarian, which is from Orse Bajos. I'm gonna read this out. This is about how this egregore is created through the performance, and how it is related to the participants. And everyone decides from themselves what is the ontological status of Jinx, Azazello, and Admin, these 3 characters. They are not representations, because they are not something or someone instead of or on behalf of someone, nor are they metaphors, but they are who they are, themselves and actors, like actors in doers, someone who does something. And instead of an egregore, they could also be mascots of this performance. Before this paragraph, she explains why an egregore can become from these three characters and the participation with the participants. Yeah, so besides the chat messaging, we started to create choreographies for the participants to create these dances or like recitations of different poems that we wrote together within the performances in different locations that were leading to the actual place of the performance. So there was this whole world we were trying to build together with the communities, or this temporary collective of the three different these non-human characters of Azalo, Jinx, and Admin. And this is just a slide of the like a summary of the virtual world. Like this is kind of database that we are using as references, both in the augmented reality layer and also as part of the narratives as well. Yeah. I'm gonna switch to a new project, so if you have like questions, then it's now. Okay. So the next one is going to be a bit shorter. This is the latest project that we have developed with Hello, and this is called the Archive. This is from this year. We just finished it a month ago. And the Archive is a browser-based point-and-click game that you can visit right now. It's the URL is, I'm sorry, I didn't write it up. It's archive.hello.systems. So you can try this out now. And this is like this entangled world, or this meta world building created from the characters and the words of Hello, this artist group. And on the left, you can see like a sped up like walkthrough of this game. And on the right, you can see kind of the map, how the different worlds are relating to each other. And now I'm gonna switch to the video itself, just to see it a bit better. And so Archive is this ongoing meta project where our fictional words and stories bleed into new ones. So we create these fictional words and characters and scenarios, and we were thinking that how this world can become one. So basically merging these different speculations, either from futurities or mythologies or our own wordings, and we tried to create this meta project around them. And there is this term called bleed. So how these words bleed together or bleed into each other, and also how they bleed into physical reality. And this term is coming from Nordic LARP, Nordic live action roleplay. And it describes when the identity of a player and the character that they are playing start to affect and shape each other. So there's this bind between, there's this basically bleeding between these different realities or different characters. And in this project, we don't only focus on the characters, but investigate how Hallow's previously built and future realities, as well as the outside world their fictional environments are embedded in, could interact with each other. And within this game, what you can see is basically the archive of these worlds speaking for itself. So kind of introducing it, presenting different parts of it through these different beings, like him, who is called MCAT Boy, which is from a project called Phoenix. So we try to gather all of these characters together and to create this weird bind between these worlds. This is sped up, so on the website it's not like this. I wanted to keep this a bit shorter. We also use a lot of documentation of the performances as to create new pieces. So kind of reuse our own materials to create new words, and we are trying to reflect on this documentation process that happens with live art. And So we use a lot of screen captures of the virtual worlds as well, but the performance documentations as well, which we always create for ourselves. So basically, the performances are really has this technological layer where I walk around with two phones, one GoPro and the other whatever kind of device to kind of work for the future projects, not within the present, but as well in this future scenarios.
Quite interesting. Huh? Also that's a quite interesting take also, because we are always confronted with how do we document artistic research emanations, no? Because in the process you have smaller events or it's a clever move. You made a new game out of it.
Exactly, and I try to do that as well in my PhD now, because I'm trying to use this as a sort of like a device to how words or like fictional words work when you kind of deconstruct your own fiction and try to reconstruct something new out of those pieces. But that's a different story. So yeah, this was the end. I can leave this previous video on if you want. The audio is really annoying though.
Okay. Yeah. Do it, then
Should
we
I?
can let it
Yeah.
run while we talk
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Thank you. Then that's it.
If
I
it plays.
don't know. Thank you, Tamás.
Thanks.
So yeah, thank you a lot, Tamás Páll, for the presentation of 3 of your latest work, and also the latest work. So you started with also a very recent work, very recent experimental game that also connects different worlds. But with the last game, also We Are the Archive, something like that was the core line that I was seeing. And so you also combine different media takes, then like the augmented reality, documentary videos. What else is it? Material from players?
Yeah, text, research materials like found stuff as well.
Yeah.
So we are, and also I am using a lot of like appropriative stuff within my research as well, and I try to like use those materials as well. But also like text, also code, like game mechanics, which we try to invent in a way. But we also use like really traditional game mechanics, like point and click, to convey these different mechanics in our works.
So maybe that was already the second part of the question. Also the others or online chat is welcome. So because my question would then be, how do you connect these different materials, then through the narration or through certain mechanics? And so you said already you use certain dynamics, interaction dynamics, game mechanics that you developed in the single pieces, and this you apply in this all over archive Mythopoeia game, right?
Yeah. So using this many media in our works, well, at least with Hollow, but in my individual works as well, creates this really weird emergence from the different media, and it also highlights or like shows kind of the body of this media. So how do they work, or how can they be misused to show their skin, basically this media skin that these projects have, and also it like creates. So for example, if we are using a video as a video, then it's a video. But if we are using a video as a choreography reference for a live action roleplay, like choreography, then it becomes something else. So there is this transmutation of media within a project.
That's an interesting part, that in games or in a game system, many media become transformative media or hybrid media.
Yeah, exactly. And we try to mine that this mechanic in a lot of ways. So there are like really weird ways that kind of translates into that. So, for example, so basically we are using like a lot of like live speech within the performances, but then the live speech sometimes becomes like a voiceover within the performance, and sometimes the voiceover becomes part of a video which becomes part of a game. So we try to always transmutate these different aspects of media, and also not just media, but also the body, how you relate your body to media, and how media relates to your body, and how it shapes kind of your actions within these games, basically, because they have a set of frame, or like a frame of reference within the performances, because like basically games are like worlds where you accept the rules and you accept that it's not the real world, or you have like different kind of agency within these settings, and we try to kind of expand or extend that via these scenarios where we use also game mechanics and create these game worlds, but they reference scenarios which are really close to reality. So there is this bleed between these between the fiction and the real, and it's really like visible within this scene from the railway station, that there is this bleed in between realities, and it's very true for like public space projects.
Questions and commentaries maybe to Tamás. At least the brave people here. So, Georg, if you could give the mic to the colleague over there, she has a question.
Hi, thank you so much, first of all, for your interesting lecture. And actually, I am regretting right now that I didn't do other questions while we were talking, because I have now like a lot of questions in my mind for you. So I will just try to formulate a couple of them, and maybe just like come from one to the other one. And because I'm pretty interested in this non-humor or non-anthropocentric things, and I think it's so interesting your work that you also work with so many different media. And I was actually, first thing, I was wondering if you already tried some participative way of bringing like the audience, like for example, in performances you have this, I don't know, from the videos I saw that there is a performance going on and there is the audience, and if you try kind of to change also this, like how the audience can also become a part of the performance itself.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm also thinking that back in games, how it's important that a person actually plays, or it's first person, it's not like just looking at it. And this will be super interesting if we talk about this kind of loop between the performance, the game, the text, and everything becoming like mixing together and becoming one thing. The other question would be if you already also thought of using virtual reality, or like having some kind of mixed, you already have augmented reality, of having this non-human perception in a first person body, or like embodiment. And yeah, and then I would have other questions, but maybe we just start with this one.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the questions. And for the first one, I want to switch back to this slide. Yes. So this was an attempt to transform this piece from this more total sense of viewing the performance, and to create more like engagement from the participants as well. So not just we play there, or it seems like that not only we play during the performance, and we try to do that via like a week-long preparation with these 3 chat groups. And for that, first we created this personality test like thing that we sent out for either invited participants or people who responded to the event that they want to participate. And this test basically divided people into 3 groups. And these 3 groups started to engage with the participants via like messaging really cryptic stuff at the first day or so, And throughout the week, we send them a lot of materials related to each characters, basically these three characters. And there were some special media or like special videos, texts, voice messages that we sent out, which contain like instructions what to do during the performance, and as a group. So there were like three groups of the participants, and they were doing different stuff. So for example, one group were doing this choreography together with the help of like a helper that helped to create this or to teach this choreography for one group. The other one was they have to murmur or whisper a sentence, which was a sentence from the end of the performance. So it happened throughout the performance that they were whispering this collectively, and but before that, so there were this 1 week of like messaging and engaging with people, and yeah, we wanted to invite them. So this is basically part of the performance. This 1 week chatting together, which was really interesting to see that that there were a lot of engagements, so people basically they were kind of immersing into these characters or these words that these characters kind of convey or try to build throughout this chat process, and they become familiar with this whole speculative scenario beforehand, before the performance happened. And when they arrived to the performance, they were already part of this group that they were put in basically, and within the space of the performance, they were kind of overtaking the whole space because they were a lot more than us, like 8 people, I think, and we are also part of these groups, like through our like physical bodies, and yeah, and basically this is the dynamics that created this participatory this environment of participation within these performances. But before that, actually, we were doing performances which invited the audience to see the performances, but also became participants because the whole performance revolved around this situation. For example, we have a performance called Phoenix, which is a party situation, like a pop-up party with this weird character that we all play. But the audience is also part of the performance because they are going to a party basically, which longs for 3 hours. So we also like to play with this this notion of participant versus player, and where does the player start and where does the viewer ends, and where is the activity and the passivity blends together basically via this word building or these choreographies. And your other question was about how the non-human perspectives or like perception happens in my work, or via augmented reality, or like these technologies.
Like how you see through your work, like the embodiment, or like you already have augmented reality, you have performance, and how you
integrate. So the first work that I showed, Ovo, which is this Hydra creature, there the embodiment is happening basically without seeing a body. So basically, I'm embodying this creature through voice, or it's not even me who is embodying the creature, because it's someone else who is role playing this creature as Hydra. And so the first embodiment here, which I think it's interesting, is through your vocal cords, but the other one is through movement. So basically, you embody this whole work and the map and how you explore this work via a phone, which you have to hold, and augmented reality basically triggers your movement because you can't see the whole frame itself. You have to move to see this, because this map is unfolding around you as like a 3-meter wide geodesic structure. So you basically have to move in order to use this map instead of like a map, you know, because there is no kind of movement when you use like a 2D map or like a small map. And I try to mine this movement also within the performative things.
So the map is a virtual 3-dimensional dome.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like
around you.
It's like a 3-meter wide thing that you can scale up also. And if you scale it up for the right proportions, which you don't know which are the right proportions, then the map becomes an actual map that you can walk through in order to find the actual locations of the different texts in that forest.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I'm not sure if it answered. Yeah,
maybe just the question if you already also thought of using virtual reality for your next projects or like integrating it.
You mean like goggle-based VR? Yeah. I don't really like VR because I really like when you are kind of within the space and not. How do I explain? So basically, VR is putting a shield in front of your vision to immerse you in another world. And what I like is more of an in-between like virtual and physical. And augmented reality is really good for that, but also LARPing is really good for that because you have these virtual worlds in your mind that you can enact via your own body. And it's kind of similar to me, like role-playing live within your body and AR. And VR kind of throws you out from this contextual situation with reality and kind of creates this bucket around you, which of course it's like whatever like projects they're really good projects with VR, but I don't think in VR, so to say. It's really stupid, sorry, but maybe yeah.
Okay, makes sense. There is one more here.
Yeah, we get one more question from the chat. Thank you for the great talk. Do you also use conventional game design approaches, iteration and playtesting, or is it more about the happy accidents and meaning making that happens during interaction?
Nice. So the short answer is no. We don't use. I don't use like traditional like playtesting, unit testing, whatever methods. But we do testing actually, because when we are working together with as a group with Hello, our tests are more like these discursive tests that we are trying to describe a character. We try to invent a story, and we kind of say that to each other. And this is basically like testing this game situation, but through discourse, not through technology.
Okay, maybe you have a sip of water.
Yeah.
And I just noticed Tamás almost is no more able to talk. So I see that there are many questions, but I think we go on. Or is there? No. So thanks a lot. Then I think we come to the end. I'm pretty sure that thank you for being here on site. Thank you for being there, out there, also in the VR world. And
We are dying.
sorry, putting the mask off means coughing. I'm sure that everything that you showed will bleed into our creative worlds. That is the main message. Thanks a lot. Look out for the next Ludic method, Soiree. Online. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure. That was the water now.
Yeah.
Sorry.